As I said earlier, today we celebrate the feasts in honor of the Blessed Virgin Mary, Our Lady of Mount Carmel. The monastery of the Mount Carmel or Carmelite Monastery is a walking distance from here. And we honor the Blessed Virgin Mary, Our Lady of Mount Carmel. It is a devotion that can be traced back even to the early 12th century. But even the naming of Mount Carmel goes as far as the Old Testament during the time of the prophet Elijah. In the book of Kings, the prophet Elijah summoned the priests and the prophets who were pagans. And then he challenged them. On top of the mountain, they gather. Close to 1,000 of them. And he, against this, false prophets and pagan priests, he challenged them. Let us not struggle long with the issue. If your God is true God, then let's worship your God. If the God I pray to and I worship is the real God, then we shall worship this God. And we know how the story went. The prophet Elijah was proven right. One against close to 1,000 false prophets and pagan priests. Elijah proved to them on top of this Mount Carmel whose God is the real God and whose God is the living God. Beautiful words from Elijah. It has not struggled long with the issue. Whose God is the real God? Later on, during the 12th century, this same mountain, hermits dwell there. Monasteries are built. And during the 12th century, it was dedicated to Our Lady. Mary, Our Lady of Mount Carmel. It is no coincidence to ask the question, who is the real God? To answer to the same question, whose God is the living God, the most powerful God? Mary is the epitome of this faith. That's why we call Mary as the epitome of Christian discipleship. How Mary said, this is the Son, this is the real God. When Elijah said in the Old Testament, the God I pray to, the God I worship is the living God, Mary in the New Testament is the living testimony and the epitome of this faith. When we call on her, the Mother of God. That's why if you hear the Magnificat, how it is beautifully rendered earlier in a song, it could bring you to prayer. And even it could bring you to tears. When you hear the words of Mary praying, my soul proclaims the greatness of the Lord. This is the living God. We have to call on Mary to make us see things in the eyes of faith. Mary as the mother of God, the human mother giving birth to a human being but God. The human mother giving birth to a life of someone else. But this mother is saved by the Son. That is the paradox of it. The mother giving birth, giving human life, but this same mother is saved by the Son, Jesus Christ. That is why, if you look at the details of the Magnificat, it calls us to worship the Son, not the mother. It calls us to worship God, not herself. To give praise and glory, thanks to you for giving, making all these things happen. God, not herself. That is why when I say epitome of Christian discipleship, it's Mary. It's an invitation for us to truly become sons of God, sons and daughters of God. And there's no other way but to be like Jesus, to see things with the eyes of Jesus. You know, we hear that often. We are sons and daughters of God. But how about the invitation to see things through the eyes of Jesus? We cannot jump into it. We claim we are brothers and sisters, we are Christians, we are sons and daughters of God. But are we seeing things with the eyes of Jesus? Mary will bring us to it, being the mother of the Son of God. And we could learn a lot from her. We could learn a lot from her. From the start, when it was announced to her, you would become the mother of the Son of God. Wow, the Blessed Virgin Mary said, how can this be? It would mean losing the love of her life. It would mean losing Joseph, the love of her life. How scary it was. But look at what happened. Mary said, the only question she raised, how can this be? And then she said, I am the handmaid of the Lord. Be it done unto me as you say. There were no clear answers to her questions. There were none. But she said, let it be done to me. That is how to see with the eyes of faith. That is how to be the mother of the Son. And if you run to Mary, He will teach us how to see how the Son sees things. That is why she wants us to be closer to her Son, so that we could see things with the eyes of the Son, so that we could truly become sons and daughters of God. It is seeing through the eyes of Jesus. At the first wedding in Cana, the first miracle, how it was. Mary recognized the need of the couple. And that is how far she could get, recognizing the need. And then, she identified the need. And she said, they no longer have wine. But my son, I do not know what to do next. What she said next? Do as he tells you. Not do as I want it, but do as he, my son, tells you. I could see the need, I feel the need, but I could not do anything about it. He knows what to do about it. Do as he tells you. Seeing with the eyes of faith. This mother knows best that his son knows what must be done. Seeing through the eyes of Jesus. I don't know how to describe a mother at the foot of the cross looking at a son crucified. When other disciples fled, when other disciples hide, when other disciples disowned this son, when other disciples, perhaps not just one or two, perhaps some of them betrayed this son, but here, the mother at the foot of the cross, looking at the son. I don't know what's in her mind. How painful it was. How difficult it was to be there at the foot of the cross, looking at your son dying. She did not flee. She did not hide. She remained to what she said at the start. I am the maidservant of the Lord. Be it done to me as you say. As we continue this Eucharistic celebration, let us go back to the question proposed by Elijah. When he said, the prophet Elijah, how long shall we struggle with the issue? If the God you worship is the real God, then let us worship your God. But if this God I pray to is the real God, bend your knees and worship my God. As we honor Mary, Mary has told us who this God is and who the real God is. This mother surely brings us always to where He is her Son is. So as we continue this Eucharistic celebration, let us bring this challenge. Whose God is the real God then? If we are convinced of this God we pray to, let us not make other gods. And let us not make little gods of ourselves. Before it's too little or too late, let us bend our knees. And with Mary, with her intercession, let us worship and pray to this God. And let us see things through the eyes of the Son, Mary's Son, and God's Son. We could identify needs. We may have some questions. We may have some troubles. We have some queries. But like Mary, we'll learn to say, Lord, your will be done.